No, this is not an episode on Billy the Kid's grave. That was our last live. I just didn't have any other intro, and I wanted some kind of music to play before we came in here to set the tone. I thought we could all enjoy that music anyway. But no, we're not discussing Billy the Kid's grave today. We are introducing another board member, Aaron Presley. He's our newest board member, but he's been with us for a long time. And I'll let him tell you more about himself, but he's the gentleman behind some amazing projects like the Stinking Springs Monument, the Ellis House Monument. He'll fill you in on how those came about and how we connected on that. But we're trying to get him on the show more, trying to get him in front of you guys more so you get to know him. And without further ado, I'll bring him on. His name is Aaron Presley. And if you've been watching my videos, I did a little video on this guy a while back. And I believe it's still in our shorts. So if you go look at those after the show, you have a little something extra to watch. But Aaron, good to have you, man.
What's up? How y'all doing?
Doing good. Thanks for joining me. First off, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are, where you know, that kind of thing, but also leading from that into how you got into Billy and a little bit about your Billy passion.
I own 360 Pro Wrestling, a touring pro wrestling company in Texas, mostly Texas now. We tour all over the state of Texas. I also rodeo professionally as a pro rodeo announcer. And on top of that, I'm kind of like the Billy the Kid Historical Coalition super fan, you know, so I'm here for it. Yeah.
You had me at pro wrestling. That's awesome.
Yeah, my dad took me when I was a kid, when I was like 8 years old, to see Hulk Hogan in Austin, Texas, and I was hooked. I was hooked right then. I knew I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't know how or that was ever going to unfold, but it worked out in my favor, and I'm one of the lucky ones. So,
how did you get involved in wrestling?
So, growing up, just kind of beating up our friends, destroying my mom's furniture, wrestling my cousins. When I played college football, and during that time, I found Killer Tim Brooks Pro Wrestling Training Facility in Waxahachie, Texas, and it was kind of one of those things that I thought, well, if I don't try it, I'm going to regret it, and so I go for it, and I'd go every Saturday afternoon from 10 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon, and that's kind of where it started way back when. That was about 2004. So
nice. So did you do wrestling yourself or go straight into the announcing and management kind of end?
I went in to wrestle, and then I don't know, about 4, 5, 6 months after I started training to wrestle, I ended up in Alabama coaching college football in Selma, Alabama, Concordia College. I was a football coach there. And so I kind of got away from it, got back into the workflow of football. And when I came home, there was a local independent promotion called the New School Federation, located in my town here. And I've found my way to that through crossing paths with the owner. And I remember telling him, I don't know who your ring announcer is, but I bet I can do a pretty good job. And he kind of told me, we'll show up, put your money where your mouth is. So fast forward from that, 2 years later, I own the company, and it's been a rocket ship ever since. So
that's awesome, man. When I was a kid, they had these little like wrestling buddies, the little plush type things. What were they called? I had a Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. I don't know. They were just like this.
Just the wrestle buddies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I miss those. Those were so fun.
Yeah, you go from beating up your pillow to you can beat up a wrestle buddy.
That's right. We need to make some Billy the Kid wrestle buddies. Pat Garrett.
Yep.
Collect them all.
Collect them all. They can let them fight it out.
So let's talk about how you went from coaching college football and wrestling, and that you're still doing, into this Billy the Kid fascination. Has that always been with you since you were a kid?
Yeah, my intro to Billy the Kid is very similar to a lot of people's. I saw Emilio Estevez and Young Guns, and that kind of started, peeling the layers back, so to speak. I wanted to know more and more and more. And then when Young Guns 2 came out, and there's this Brushy Bill,
Yeah.
thought that just kind of jump started my wanting to learn. And obviously you figure out that, he's not, Brushy Bill's not Billy the Kid, but that it was one of those things that just kind of springboarded me into it, that it was just really interesting to me. And um, through all that, finding the coalition and seeing you guys and seeing the work that you were doing, and just, man, I have such an enormous amount of respect for that. And I just wanted to help out any way we could. My family owns Boulder Designs, the national headquarters for Boulder Designs. So growing up, me and my cousin Seth Mogavero, we're watching Young Guns VHS tape till it was onion skin thin. It just stayed in the VCR, and rewind started over. And so it's something that always touched our hearts. We always loved the story of Billy the Kid, and if I ever learned something, I would share it with him. And this was just kind of a no-brainer for us, and a way to just help. That's all we ever want to do. Just to help out, and um, really never thought how cool that would become. So
Yeah. Was Young Guns 2 your favorite?
yeah, yeah,
Mine too.
yeah, the music and everything too, with Bon Jovi. And I remember, I'm just a kid, so to speak, then, and it's Christmas, and I bought my mom the the cassette tape of the soundtrack,
Oh
which
yeah.
was more for me, I guess, than her. But I talked my stepdad into buying that. She was kind of like, "What is this?" It's like, well, if you don't want it, I'll listen to it. So
Yeah.
um, but no, yeah, I really did. Young Guns 2 was a lot of fun, and it just, like I say, I think it's one of those movies that always be kind of near and dear to our generation, because that was our Billy. That was
Mhm.
our Billy. That was the catalyst for springboarding all of us, the majority of us, I would safe to say, into this world of you know never-ending rabbit holes of stuff to learn. So yeah, that was a special one.
That's been so many of our gateways. I mean, like 90% probably you ask us what it is, and it's Emilio as Billy.
Yeah,
He's our Billy. And well, today was the unofficial, unknown, kind of vague, but we're going with it, birthday of Billy the Kid,
yeah.
November 23rd. Um,
Mhm.
Someone commented on my Facebook today and said, "Is it kind of like Christmas where we kind of don't know if Jesus was really born on December 25th, but look, here we are, and it's just something we all agree on." It's like we could kind of do that with November 23rd. Like we know it's probably not quite certain, but it's all we have. And so why not use this day to say, happy birthday, Billy, and stuff like that. So I think it was kind of monumental, or not monumental, but symbolic, that yesterday the series finale of MGM's Billy the Kid came out. And we talk about Emilio being our Billy the Kid. And Tom Blythe, in my opinion, has a great look for Billy, and all the production and everything was there. But for a lot of people, this new show, that's their Billy the Kid. That's their intro to Billy. And unfortunately for me, I have not been a big fan of the show. Have you seen much of it?
I started, I think, when it all started, real excited, like most people, I think, a major production Western version on the story of Billy the Kid, wow, it can't get much better than that, right? And then
Absolutely.
it just kind of little nugget after little nugget of historical inaccuracy, which, like I say, we give a little leeway. I mean, even young guns can't hold it to the
Right.
microscope, but after a while, it just started getting a little too much for my. I mean, to the point where I just like, golly, was that necessary? God, boy, I get taking, liberties here and there,
Right.
but it's quite a leap, for this or that. And I think for me, I just kind of I want the closest thing we can get. I don't want to guesstimate. I don't want to watch something and go, well, is that what happened? Did that really? No, I want to, a true telling. I would be here for that. But
Yeah. Bob says, please no spoilers. What's funny, Bob, is I could legit say like Billy the Kid and Jesse Evans find a DeLorean in a cave and time travel to stop the JFK assassination, and you wouldn't know because that's how outrageous the show gets sometimes. um,
yeah,
so yeah, I'll refrain from spoilers. DJ Rock the House. Yes, the show came out last night, I believe, but I just watched it today, and it is the last episode of the whole show. So this wraps it up. The show is done. 3 years, 3 seasons. Michael Hurst, the showrunner, the guy behind the show Vikings, could have given us so much more. Did not. I agree with you, Aaron, that the historical, it's not so much historical inaccuracies. I can handle those. Young Guns and Young Guns 2 is full of historical inaccuracies, but it's a great story. The choices that they make in this show make the history worse and leave you puzzled, and you're like, why did they even make this change? Like, for instance, changing Catherine's name to Kathleen. Why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense. That's a minor gripe, but it's like it takes me out of it and leaves me confused. The first scene of the first episode of the whole show, Billy rolls in to kill Joe Grant. It's in El Paso, Texas in 1877. Why would they do it? Doesn't make any sense. It has no bearing on the story. Why did they do those changes? I don't understand it a bit.
it muddies the water quite a bit, and I get entertainment. I get it, but
Mhm.
the true story, from what I understand, is pretty entertaining too. And
Oh,
we
it's
kind of
awesome,
talk
man.
sometimes how great would it be for someone like a Kevin Costner to take a crack at it or something,
Would
or
love it.
somebody like, that's just really try to hold it to the grindstone,
Um,
accuracy wise.
Daniel said JFK died November 22nd and Billy the Kid was born November 23rd. Coincidence? I think not. No, and I'll prove it. What's more establishing is that Daniel Weber played Jesse Evans in the new Billy the Kid show. He also played Lee Harvey Oswald in Hulu's 11/22/63 about the assassination of JFK. So if that doesn't solidify this theory, I don't know what does. Thank you,
Yeah.
Daniel, for your insight. um, Bee's Knees. Haven't seen Young Guns yet. You need to get on that.
Mhm.
In fact, pause the live, come back to this, go watch Young Guns. But she says my favorite Western is Purgatory. Have you ever seen Purgatory, Aaron?
I've heard that. I've heard of that movie. It's not ringing a bell. I can't picture, but I have heard of that movie. But I
And
need to look into that.
it's so weird because it's not a high-end movie. It's not a, film that's going to go win awards, but every time it came on back when I had cable and was just flipping through channels, I'd end up watching it. And it did become one of my favorite, small budget westerns to watch. I'm actually going to have to go back and watch it, but that's pretty interesting that Bee's Knees brought that up. Buddha, thanks for joining, new member. Awesome. Appreciate you, man. Uh, I did finish the third and final season. It was so painfully inaccurate, but I kind of hate watched it. Yeah, I've been hate watching it for 3 years. But like we said, Aaron, sometimes if this is the Billy the Kid for this generation, then
Right.
I hope to God it sparks interest, and I hope people who don't know the history enjoyed it enough to look into the real history, because
Right.
that's what we did with Young Guns, you know.
Right. And
So
we're a generation away from losing this history. And It just, I mean, it's fading. It's dying off in a lot of ways. So, anything like that, I'm here for it. If it sparks interest in this generation, to go learn and doing that, that's what's going to keep this history alive. Otherwise, the alternative's not very good. So anything that pushes Billy the Kid in any type of way, I'm here for it. Movies are movies, Hollywood is Hollywood. I
Yeah.
would love to have something that checks all my boxes of accuracy, but
Right.
my take might be different than other people's takes. So I try to enjoy it, but it's kind of like being a football coach or a referee. You stop, you watch the game totally different now,
Yeah.
and so just trying to balance that, personal historical obsession and enjoyment of cinematic quality. So
Right. Well, I mean, that's something that the show had. They had a great budget and it looks awesome. I just, and the cast, amazing. I love the whole cast was capable. I think Billy could have been amazing. I think he was written terribly, but they just blew it on the story, and that's unfortunate for me. But again, I hope somebody likes it. Um, you said that we're about a generation from away from losing this history.
mhm.
Uh, how did that kind of motivation tie into you joining the coalition and doing your best to preserve it?
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, and I didn't know this existed, and when I did, it was a no-brainer for me, uh, to find people that care so much and care about the truth and the opposite of the muddy in the water. Man, I have just ultimate respect for that, and so, I was y'all's biggest fans before I ever got to meet y'all or talk to you, just because of the work you were putting in and doing. And, when you get like-minded individuals like that together that truly care, incredible things happen. And that's how these great things happen. And that's why, it's an honor for me. So like I say, I'm just the super fan here. So
So how did you stumble across the coalition? Was it on Facebook? Like, how did you hear about the coalition?
Billy Palooza back in the day kind of got me
Oh,
looking,
so
and then
so
I found,
you
yeah,
you were watching the mag show, All Things Billy the Kid?
mhm, All Things Billy the Kid. I did. I saw you the first time on there,
That's
and
right.
yeah. So when I found that, I mean, All Things Billy the Kid. Hey, come on, let's watch. And then I won't go too deep into that, but Billy Palooza never happened, and
Right.
um, luckily something very similar, way better, ended up happening later on with us. So, but that's what kind of got me in y'all's vicinity. And
Mhm.
when I found y'all and dialed in with what y'all were doing, I was like, man, this is the group of folks for me. This is what it's about.
Yeah. So, like I said in the intro, you were instrumental in the Stinking Springs Monument and that whole event. Through the you mentioned that your family owns the stone company. What is that, monument or stone company? What do you call it again?
It's called Boulder Designs.
Okay.
Man, they make man-made boulders, custom man-made boulders. They're the international headquarters for it. So there's hundreds and hundreds of franchises all over the U.S. and Canada. But that's the main shop there, and they do a lot of the training, and it's just kind of a lucky thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just one of those things, and um, you know, I've got one of the best families ever. They're incredibly giving and caring, and they care about preserving the history of Billy the Kid and all that surrounds it. And so it's just kind of a perfect situation.
So the time frame between, you know, the collapse of Billy Palooza and Stinking Springs, how did you lead into connecting with Josh or Jeremiah and formulating the plan to do this and offering your help and getting involved? What were some of the key events from becoming just, you say you're a super fan, but you're way more than that now. So how do you go from being a fan to a participant in making this stuff happen?
So I saw the granite markers that y'all were placing, and those are expensive.
That they
Very,
are.
yeah. And we're able at a fraction of that price to accomplish some of the things we want to accomplish with the boulders. And it just kind of laid on our hearts, like, well, hey, maybe here's a way we can help these guys, because they're doing everything in the world that they can to help themselves. And that what when you see people working that hard and caring that much, it's you kind of just get drawn to it. That what an amazing energy that is. And when we saw that, we just wanted to help, and felt like that was a way. So I reached out to Josh and was just kind of like, hey, here's an option. If you'd like to take a look at this. And I'll always say it just worked out perfect. It was meant to be. That was that first stone. Josh Jeremiah will agree. One of the heaviest things in the history. It's like moving the blocks for the pyramids, right? And so with a whole bunch of rope and leverage and Twister helping us, and we got that boulder out the back of that truck. And but when we set it on the footer there at Stinking Springs, it was just it just set perfect. And the moment it did, I'll always remember it, because it was just, when it set, I was like, man, because we set the footer first to make sure everything's level and this and that. But it's a big heavy stone, and once it's there, if you need to move it, it can complicate things. And it just went perfect, like it was meant to be there. And it was one of the most powerful moments for me to just be there, let alone set the monument, but to actually be there, because for our whole lives we read books about this, and you picture what it looks like in your brain, and it never looks like what you think it does. And even some of the videos that I've seen on YouTube of people that were fortunate enough to be out there at the site, and even the videos do it no justice. And when you can get in that little arroyo, that little ditch where Garrett and that posse were, and see just how close they were to that hut, I mean, it was just a stone's throw. It wasn't much to it. And but just for your mind to be able to wrap around that was a powerful thing for me. It really, really was.
If they were that close, you'd think they would recognize Charlie.
Well, when you think, like, the sun's barely come up, snow on the ground, the gravity of the situation already unfolding. It's darkest right before the light, brother. So you know what happened, unfolded, and you can feel it when you get out there. People talk about boots on the ground. That was pretty
Right.
boots on the ground right there. And if you we had to just even find it again when that first day when we got out there, locating it again. And hopefully now, that's not a problem. I think we can from the satellite probably locate that monument at this point. But what a honor and what a privilege it was to just be there. It was very special to me, and getting to go back this last time too was just as special. And every opportunity and I ever get to do it in the future, I'm excited for it. So it's a blessing.
Amen. Magical every time. Now, you spent that time at the Stinking Springs ceremony. You spent some time kind of like overnight at Fort Sumner, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I got drunk as a skunk at Billy's grave is what I did. And that was one box I was wanting to check. I had a great time. We went and we sat out there, like I say, it's just one of those things you think about forever. And the last place you want to be is sitting at the hotel and in Fort Sumner. You want to be out there and be there. So, a case of beer and sit next to Billy's grave and going back there to where the Maxwell house was. I could have sat there till the sun come up. I don't know if you get arrested for that, but I was there for it. Like I would have stayed all night. But with the Coolest Paranormal guys and with Josh and Jeremiah, and then getting to like hang out with you this last time we went, what a great time I'm just racking up all-time great memories with you guys, and
Absolutely.
just
And so this last time you talking about the convention in September, which was a fantastic time. Your first time in Lincoln?
yes,
So
yes.
let's talk about that magic.
Wow. Everybody told me, they're like, Aaron, man, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Like, Fort Sumner's cool. All that's cool. Stickett Springs is cool. But when you get to Lincoln, you were going to feel the magic. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I hear you. I hear you. And when I did, man, it got me hook, line, and sinker. And I just fell in love with the village of Lincoln. And another one of those moments and those opportunities to get to live your childhood dreams. You never think you're going to get to be there.
Yeah.
So many people I've known and family that have passed through and saw the courthouse or this or that, and just kind of a whatever type of thing. But for me, that's holy ground. My whole life has been consumed with everything I could ever get my hands on to read, and this was the place I was reading about. And like I say, you fantasize about it in your brain, like what it looks like or this or that. And when you get there, I'll tell you what, I had a moment behind the Tunstall store.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it hit me the most. And I was like, wow, this is
That's
it.
interesting.
And that the Brandon Dixon's incredible tour,
Mhm.
just kind of bringing that street to life. And how incredible was that? And, to be able to see where that pit jail was, and just, it comes alive. It comes to life. And, man, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that trip as long as I live.
It's and I was worried too the second time coming through. Is it going to be the same? Like, because again, for me too, the first time was just magic. And yeah, it is the same time. Second time through, just as powerful. But
Mm.
why do you think that is? Do you think there's something about, because objectively, it's one street. It's a small area. It's a few houses. There's not much to Lincoln at all. And you would think it would be very unassuming and really not impressive. But there's a weight there. There's an energy.
Mhm.
There's a clean air feeling, obviously. But I mean, it's just, there is something special about that place. And I have to often ask myself, is it the history of Billy the Kid that I've become so invested in? Would I feel it otherwise? If I were as deeply into Wyatt Earp, would I feel that way in Tombstone? Do folks feel that way? I know, Bob Reese, you're into Custer. Do you feel that way at Little Bighorn? Um, what is that? I've often speculated about how objective and subjective that experience is. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Aside from Billy the Kid and the Lincoln County War and all that stuff, you can see why the people found that place, wanted to settle there. I mean, you're up in the Capitan Mountains and on the Rio Bonita. I mean, it's, of every place you're going to be out there, this is the place. And you're right. It's a magical place. There is this feeling, but if you got a heart beating in your chest and you love the story of Billy the Kid, when you get there, that this whole story comes to life. And when they say you walk in the footsteps of these amazing characters in American history, some that we personally, I think, is the coolest. The Billy the Kid stuff is just kind of the coolest. He's the coolest. And
Yeah.
to be able to walk those streets and walk in their footsteps and see that staircase and see that courthouse and, just every bit of the town, the Ellis House and everything. I mean, I'm so impressed, and it's so much of it is just like it was when God made it. And in a world now that is so full of technologically, just craziness happening everywhere, I yearn for that feeling of that old Southwest, and how my heart feels there. And I'll say it forever. That's the closest I've ever felt to God, is in Lincoln. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just, aside from all the Billy the Kid stuff, it's an amazing, amazing place. And you factor on top how wonderful the people are there. Um, it's, man, it's the reason we'll be there for Christmas. So
Yeah. So you're going back Christmas, huh?
yes, yes, yep. Unofficial coalition Christmas, I guess. I don't know.
That's right.
Amy's so kind to open her home up to us during Christmas, and so we're going to go out there and spend some time during that week and just be as happy as a bird in a tree while we're there. So
Dude, I mean, I envy anyone who's ever gone to Lincoln, because it's like, man, I'd live there if I could, you know?
yeah, yeah. The first time we walked into Amy's house there, and you go into that living room where the fireplace is, I told my wife, I go, golly, can you just imagine what Christmas would feel like here? You know, and uh, never in a million years thinking we'd ever get to spend Christmas there. But you know, Amy's just gracious enough to my family and to everybody. Really, she's a wonderful person. And but to allow us to come spend Christmas there and experience that, Damo and his family as well. So yeah, it's going to be a wild one. Damo's kids are going to have a Billy the Kid Christmas in Lincoln, and that's pretty cool.
That is so cool. I'm looking forward to pictures and footage of that stuff, man.
Yep.
Maybe there'll be snow on the ground and a picturesque Lincoln Christmas.
Oh, I hope so. You know, it could be torrential downpour of rain or hailstorm, and I'd be happy just to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, being at her residence there at the Ellis house, the Ellis store, is just, man, it's what a cool place.
Yep. What was your favorite part? I mean, it's hard to say anybody has a favorite part of Lincoln, but what was the part you enjoyed the most seeing for the first time, experiencing, you know, getting your hands on?
That would have to be the live performance of the Cardigan
Stop.
Kid. Yeah, I'm telling you, the live and in living color.
Right.
James Townsend. That was my favorite part of the whole
Yeah,
trip.
I bet. Yeah. That was the whole reason you came out.
The whole reason. And that was a lot of fun. You know, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite thing. I think my favorite part of all of it was just fellowshipping with so many like-minded individuals and you know, people they're living their dream being there. You know, it's not unique for me to feel that way or for you to feel that way. You know, we all have such a passion for this, you know, and like with Shane coming over too, you know, all the way from Australia. I mean, that's a little more than a hop, skip, and a jump. And
Yeah, it is.
for everyone to just be there and be soaking it up and seeing how important it is to them as well is just, you know, confirmation that you're in the right place, doing the right thing with the right people.
Yeah. Colin said that something cool, if I can find it. I would like to see Gerzlachowski's at Christmas.
So yeah, that's one of our plans too. The Gretchalowski Sheep Camp is to go out to Puerto de Luna. I think that would be really cool, and maybe we go live from Puerto de Luna at the table in the house. You know, on Christmas Day, maybe we do something like that.
That's right, man. That would be so cool.
Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I think yeah, Colin again coming in with the chats. We were talking about the magic of a place and the weight of a place, saying if enough people focus on one spot, some collective unconscious stuff happens. And not to get too deep into the murky, you know, areas of philosophy where people start asking, did we smoke weed before we started broadcasting? But if you think about time not being linear, right? If time in some quantum mechanics form is all happening at the same time, then where there's a lot of activity, like you have the Lincoln County War, the Horrell War, you have the Mescalero stuff with the Torreon, you have the Lincoln County War, Billy the Kid stuff. You have stuff in Lincoln all throughout history, and if it's all happening in some physics, quantum mechanics way at the same time, does that make a place stronger in energy or stronger in like what people feel? You know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's just something I always think about.
I'll tell you, my cool meter is going to be peaking at an all-time high. I promise if we do that, which I don't see why we couldn't, you know. And being there in Puerto de Luna is another place that's just so cool. And, you know, what took us 30 minutes in a car zooming down the road, you know, Billy is in the back of a wagon, with Garrett for 3 days to get there, and even bullet hole in the post, from one of Garrett shooting a guy there or shooting at a guy. That
Yeah.
bullet hole still being in that post there. It's like hopping in a time machine, and you just wish you had all the money in the world that you could just buy this and preserve this and save this, because there are parts of it that are falling in, but there's other parts that look just as good as they probably did when Billy was there,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, that's an incredible place as well,
They
my
reference
lifelong.
that scene where Billy asked for tobacco from Jim East. One of the coolest scenes in the movie, The Kid, where he starts approaching Jim and he's like, "Give me some tobacco," and Jim says, "If he comes any closer, I'm going to shoot you." And so Jim then says, I'll throw you the tobacco." And Billy says, "I don't want your damn tobacco, Jim."
You can when we went and looked inside there, Josh and I and Mike, that first time we went out, that was one of those places too that you just, boy, you feel it, and it just most of it's just untouched, aside from the rooms being used for storage and
It's
whatever.
sad.
It is sad. It breaks your heart, and you just wish, like I say, you just wish you could snap your fingers and fix all that. But being able to at least enjoy it while it's still here is pretty cool too.
So, do we know? I believe the answer is no, but do we know if that place is on the historic registry? Like, is there any form of federal acknowledgement that that's a historic site?
I don't recall.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
don't
what I
think
did.
there is.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't ring a bell. I'm trying to think if there was like any kind of marker there, real historical marker, like placed by the state or anything. And
Yeah.
I don't recall. There might be one by the church or something placed a little later. I'd have to look through pictures and stuff to see. So I think I took about 5,000 pictures and videos while I was there. So uh, if there is one, I'm sure I caught it on there. So
Karen, there aren't any known pics of Rudabaugh. There are a couple floating around, one of which comes from Steve McCarty. And if you see anything that Steve McCarty has, he has an album that he claims comes from Sally Chisholm that he got in a antique store. I have not personally vetted that story or looked at the provenance of that claim, but I do find it kind of doubtful. It's something to look into. But even if that was Sally Chisholm's album, there's nothing in there marking, it doesn't name anybody. So there's still no provenance that any picture belongs to any person. Um, and then there's another one that people say is Rudabaugh, and I don't know the origin of it except that there's no provenance. The closest we have to provenance on a picture of Dave Rudabaugh is of his head after it's been decapitated by Mexican authorities. It is a pretty strong claim. I believe there's a lot of weight behind it. I'm pretty sure that Josh feels pretty certain that that's it. I know that others have contended that that's a fraud due to the nature of the guy who ended up owning it. So there's a little wiggle room there, but it's very close to safe to say that that's Dave's head. It's unfortunate that the only picture we have is of his decapitated head.
that's
What a way to
that's
go, right?
that's the one I remember. That's the one I've always seen floating around.
Yeah. And I think it really could be. I think it's probably Dave. It did end up in the hands of a guy who was known to kind of like make wild claims about pictures, but I do think it has some pretty good provenance. And seems to be like in some in the chat, some folks are kind of coming to its defense as well. Colin says he thinks the decapitated is real. There's one or two of his head. The Mexican cops are holding it on a pole and marching it down the town. I think it's legit after reading an article about the guy holding the head. I'd like to read that, Star Wars. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
Roland thinks it's our boy Dave. So it's unfortunate. Like, I'm very sorry, Dave, that the only picture that's surviving of you is of your head after it's been lobbed off of your body after some bad choices in Mexico.
They know my name.
I mean, isn't that crazy? You survive Dodge City, and then you survive Kansas, you survive uh, New Mexico, all to just get shot at a gambling table in Mexico.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Joe. I don't think that I would ask that individual for much, so he can keep those picks. I don't know about Rudabaw's sister saying he lived. I'd like to look into that. I've never seen that before, so that'd be a cool source to look up. Um, Star Wars is going to post it in our members only Discord. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Look forward to reading that. So, Aaron, in addition to the coalition, the convention, and seeing the Lincoln for the first time, you put a monument at the Ellis House as well, right?
That's right. That's correct. Yeah,
So,
we
same
that one.
process.
Yeah, same process basically. We've got a list of places we'd like to place monuments, and the Ellis House was definitely right there on the list, and just so worked out wonderful with the all of us getting together for the convention and stuff, and dedicating the marker there, and for something that'll be there as long as those hills are, surrounded by the house. So, um, and another one turned out just really, really great. We've got plans for some other ones, plans for one pretty incredible one.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to see how history unfolds for that. So,
are you able to share with the audience any of those planned sites, or I don't
I'll
want to
leave
get you
that
in trouble?
I'll
Yeah.
leave that to the brass
Yeah, the
here.
brats.
I'm just a spoke in the wheel,
Mm,
and
yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, don't want to share anything that's classified. But I didn't know if
yeah,
anything was publicized yet. But man, those are solid and good looking markers. So the more we can get of those, the more we can be assured that they'll last a pretty long time.
oh, for sure. Yeah, they'll last as long as we're all here, and so forth and so on. Aside from a meteor crashing to Earth and busting it up, it'd probably have a good shot against the meteor because they're pretty tough and pretty durable. But yeah, no, there's some fun stuff coming, uh, and we'll just enjoy it. Look forward to all the fun stuff headed our way. You know.
Absolutely. Bob wants to know, is the stone from red granite?
Yeah, there's a little secret sauce to the stone, so yeah, why not? Why not? It's got a little red granite. Why not?
Secret stone sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Colin says happy 197th birthday, Ash. So yeah,
Yeah.
we can be sure that it was Ash's birthday today. And that's a lot of the thing, people say, I don't believe this was Billy's birthday because it was Ash Upson's, and clearly he just plugged in his own birthday into the book, which is, 100% possible. But
Yeah, Ash he had to get himself over, brother.
yeah,
He had
yeah,
yeah,
but it's also possible people have the same birthdays.
it is.
Um,
Yeah.
or it's possible that Billy just made that up. I do know, and again, this is something when you're looking at history and you're looking at people's recollections, you don't know how much one is influenced by the other or vice versa. But Jim East gave an interview later in life, probably like the 20s, and he's talking about Billy and Dave and Billy Wilson and Tom Pickett going into White Oaks. And then when they go to Great Houses Ranch, Jim East says they were in White Oaks celebrating Billy's birthday. So it's like, did he know that from that time? Is that something that he heard as it was happening? Or had he read Ash's book, Garrett's book, and thought, oh, that must have been why they were in White Oaks, So you never know which is the cart and which is the horse. But it is possible, that Jim East knew that Billy was in town celebrating his birthday because it really was his birthday. But it's just hard to tell. And there's a few other things like that where you don't know which source has informed the other. It could be his birthday today, but it could just as equally be Ash making stuff up. Curious side note, though, is that Billy Wilson, he escaped from jail in Las Vegas, I believe. It could be Santa Fe, around 1883, I think. This is all just going off the top of my head. Anyway, he runs to Texas. He gets a job, working on a ranch. He eventually becomes foreman of a ranch and does pretty well for himself. Gets married. They have a kid or they adopt a kid. I can't remember which. But he becomes some sort of ranger, or not quite a Texas Ranger, some kind of mounted police or somebody that goes after rustlers or something like that. And on his application, they ask for his birthday. And no joke, the dude puts November 23rd, 1860. So in addition to Ash Upson, in addition to Billy the Kid, you've got Billy Wilson in like the year, Lord, like 1906 or something. I don't know. Putting November 23rd as his birthday. And you're like, did he take that from Billy? Did he read Garrett's book? Did he just steal it? Was that really Billy Wilson's birthday? Did Jim East get the two mixed up? Were they in town for Billy Wilson's birthday? Like there's so many cross streams. It's hard to figure out which kind of influenced the other. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that Billy Wilson also claimed November 23rd for his birthday.
Well, if you're ever having dinner at Chili's and you're sitting there with your friends and you want some dessert, it's everybody's birthday, brother. It's
That's
everybody's
right.
birthday. I'll
Maybe
share birthday
November
with
23rd.
everybody.
Maybe November 23rd was like what the Outlaws told people. Like everybody knows, you just tell them November 23rd.
It was just an inside joke,
Yeah, and another crazy thing. I was researching the Bonito massacre, which happened in 1885, and this is completely unconnected to Billy the Kid, but it's in Lincoln, and the guy who snaps and ends up killing 8 people, his birthday was on November 23rd, 1859. And it's like, I mean, how many you can throw a rock, I guess, in Lincoln and hit somebody with a November 23rd birthday? It's nuts.
What a day. What a day for the West.
Yes.
November 23rd. Come on.
Good call, Colin.
That's the lottery
Happy birthday,
ticket
Billy
day right
Wilson.
there.
Yeah. I'm not going to wish the Bonito massacre guy a happy birthday, but happy birthday, Billy Wilson. Colin, I don't know if Jim East was a big reader. I would imagine not, but maybe I'm just judging Jim East harshly. Yeah, I don't know. Catching up on the chat here. What is Bee's Knees trying to post? Some links, perhaps. Yes, DB Ash Upson was a very creative fella. I actually have a lot more respect for Ash than he's painted in a lot of the movies and shows. But he's great in Young Guns too, right, Aaron?
Yes, he did. He was great. I learned the first Native American words I ever learned were out of his mouth. So I gotta have a movement.
I gotta have a movement. Encumbered by idiots, we pressed on.
We pressed on. Yeah, I like that. It's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think Young Guns and Young Guns 2 are probably the most quotable movies I've ever seen.
For sure.
What?
Yeah.
What other? Do you have any other favorite westerns outside of Young Guns and Young Guns 2?
Anything Kevin Costner does, I've always really enjoyed. Lonesome Dove, man. My wife probably gets sick of how much that's on TV here in our house.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful story. Man, I like all of my Gore Vidal's Billy the Kid. When I found that, I thought I was finding something. I remember this younger. I just thought I found some secret movie that nobody knew anything about. And Tombstone, just everything. There's a lot of really crappy Western movies out there. I don't watch a lot of them. go through some of these streaming services, and it's some are pretty rough. And but um, yeah, anything like the John Wayne stuff. I like a lot of the typical across the board stuff. If it's good, it's good, and I'm here for it. The main thing is if the firearms are accurate or their holsters are accurate. That way I can enjoy it. So somewhat.
So you get into that kind of thing, right? Like the period correct firearms kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, I have a question about that actually, and I'm sure that you can answer this. You were showing me your Colts and the period Colt and the new Colt. Now back then, did cartridges, were they loaded different, or did they have like less of a stopping power in that you could like get shot 4 times back then and still have a greater chance of living than like today? Do you think that's the case?
Um, from what I understand, the cartridges back then were loaded with a black powder. Now it's more of a smokeless powder round that a lot of these guns are conditioned to fire. Um, like I've got an 1877 Colt Thunder here. I'll show it to you. But like this is the real McCoy. Even if mechanically it's sound and it functions. The cylinder doesn't lock up all the way.
Mhm.
But even if this was 100% functional, I probably still wouldn't shoot. And if I did, you would have to reload, around kind of to suffice it. So they're at this age, they're just a little better to look at and love. And it's kind of like an old horse that you just want to turn out and just take care of him for the rest of his days. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, that's that guy right there. Now um the newer ones, like this is the modern single action version of it. Basically, this is the Cimarron Lightning. And it's conditioned for a smokeless powder round. You can shoot anything really out of this. But yeah, the older ones you kind of treat with a little more TLC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you hear of people back then, you know, they seemed a lot less afraid of guns, like, but I figured that was probably they were everywhere, but like they seemed less afraid of getting shot by one and more confident that there's a bigger likelihood they would survive, Like, and I just
Well,
didn't know.
those those black powder rounds, it was probably a cloud of smoke around them. They could probably be 10 foot from each other and miss.
Yeah.
It gets so cloudy and smoky back then. And famously, a lot of the gun battles were chaos and chaotic and about like they are today. They're just out of hand, and it's not too big of a leap, I think. Now to then it's just when like that happens, it's just unfortunate most of the time, but chaos is just the word that keeps coming to mind.
Yeah.
But
Well, Colin makes a point that there were a lot of like no guns in town laws, a lot more than you'd think. And, I guess that's just something that the city marshals thought they had to enact to maintain control. But yeah, so a lot of times that was the case. Um, Roland says, yeah, the old stuff was black powder, lower pressure. Modern smokeless powder required stronger frames and receivers, generally speaking.
right.
That's cool stuff, Roland. Like, I've always been interested in that and how they seem to just, get back up a lot more than people tend to today in some instances. Um, yeah, but anything else on your mind, man, before we close the show out? Anything you want to talk about? Anything on the horizon?
Uh, Man, we've got a fun interview coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty neat. I'll leave the lid on that till it's time to turn that nugget loose. But um, I'm really looking forward to getting back out to Lincoln for Christmas and getting to Puerto de Luna on Christmas Day at some point in time, and creating some content out there. And Damo and I are just living the dream, running around the Southwest. So
Dude, that's so
uh,
cool.
yeah, it's like I say, it's a blessing. It's a dream come true to get to be a part of any of this. You know, when I got into wrestling, it's one of those things I loved a whole bunch growing up, but nobody around me ever loved it as much as I did. So when I finally got into the wrestling business, I was like, well, okay, I'm surrounded by my peers here, and I always have felt this way about this particular topic in history. And so getting to find you guys and the coalition has just been one of the biggest blessings of my life. And I know I've told you, James, it kind of felt like opened a key and a door to the rest of my life with these great people, and getting to learn from everybody, because man, I'm here to tell you, I'm the I'm the simple Jack, of the coalition here. So I'm excited to every time I'm around any of you, I'm learning, and that is so much fun and just such a healthy environment to be in. And I love that everyone, that if we learn something that goes against what we believe, like, we can adjust ourselves. We just want the truth, and we want to record it properly for those that care about it, in times past when we're here.
Aaron, I'm gonna drop something from the chat. I don't want to give you ideas, but this may be very cool for you to consider. Next convention, let's have a ring set up.
So I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain right here. One of the things that I would love to accomplish would be Pat Garrett versus Billy the Kid. 150 years in the making, and let's just, maybe Billy wins one this time. Maybe Billy takes it home, takes it all the way. And maybe we need a Billy the Kid's Historical Coalition Championship belt. Maybe we do that. I don't know. Maybe something could happen with that, but
that would be awesome.
I think that's a way to make history in a lot of ways we never saw coming. First time for pro wrestling in any way, shape, form, or fashion in Lincoln. And Pat Garrett versus Billy the Kid with horses and guns and cinematic entrances, and
Brushy Bill does a run in. Could you see could you see Pete Maxwell in the corner looking around and not seeing Billy? Billy's creeping up on him. Oh, he's taking out Pete Maxwell.
Yep. And I see Damo in that role of Pat Garrett, and Jeremiah got to see Will Alday, the real Texas heavyweight champion, who would be in the role of Billy, and it's uncanny. And I think that would create a magical moment. So,
well, what a scene.
Pugilist, yeah.
let's end on that dream. Let's of putting them in the ring. That's fantastic, man. Aaron, thanks so much for coming on the show and talking with us. And they're definitely going to be seeing more of you. And very excited about all your visions and hopes for the future. You're one of the most optimistic and big dreaming dudes I know, and we all need more of that. So appreciate it, man.
Man, I'm just living my dreams. I'm a kid that never grew up, and if there's something that I think is fun, I want to do it. I want to, if we can get horseback and ride from Lincoln to Fort Sumner, by God, I'm here for it. All these boxes that we can check, we're only here for a short time, and before you know it, we're stuck on a porch and rocking chairs talking about the good old days. Well, let's enjoy these good old days and make the most of them, and do things that are going to challenge those that come after us, and let's show them how to have a good time and enjoy this history the right way.
Absolutely, man. Good talking with you, and we'll all see you soon. Everybody have a good evening.
Bye, y'all.
Cool, man.
That was fun.